All right. Hey, Marietta. Groove Club fans alike. Kind of just spoiled it. I'm here from Groove Club. New club. We meet every Thursday, 2:45 in room B230. So if you're interested, please join. I'm very desperate. I like music and I like people who listen to music too. So come on. Anyways, you might be wondering who I am, or not really. You should know me, Mr. Snava. But right here to my left is my co-president of Groove Club and the person who you just saw perform her unreleased song. I guess it'll be semi-released now by the time this goes out. But I can't introduce her. Please introduce yourself.
Hey guys, you already know what's up. My name's Hadley Pacin. I'm here with my good buddy Estras, and I was asked to come on here today and talk about a couple things, so I'm pretty psyched.
Awesome. So yeah, I think the best way to kick off this show, this club, your music career, this everything, is to talk about what it's like. And you were telling me some of it when we were off the air. But yeah, so being a student, being a musician, and then this interest in music as a whole, where did it start?
That's a good question. I think it kind of just had to be like when I was like a kid, like actual kid. My parents played music like all the time. Like we used to have those like lights that would have the speakers in them or whatever, and we would just kind of always like jam out at home. And so I went to MCAA, so the second that we got our hands on pretty much any musical instrument, I was like, all right, let's just do this. So my music teachers kind of instilled that in me, and I got super interested in it. And by the time I got 6th grade, picked up that trumpet and never put it down. I just kept picking up more instruments from there. It's much to my parents. They're cool with it, but I'm sure they're like, another one? Are you sure?
Yeah, the wallet's definitely hurting.
Yeah, but it's cool, like, it's fun, and I've just really enjoyed playing and, like, getting to know people through the playing, which is why we're here, by the way. It's the entire point of Groove Club, so you guys should pop out and hang out with us.
Hang out with us, yep.
So, yeah, I've just been doing this a while. You have no idea how many times I've had to learn how to do that.
Yeah, so, okay, you mentioned it. I thought it was only the trumpet and the guitar, and I guess the melodica, real ones.
Oh, yeah, throwback, oh my gosh.
But okay. What instruments do you play?
Oh boy, okay, so trumpet, obviously. Branching off of that, I play flugelhorn. For the people who know, people who don't know, it's like the trumpet's kind of cousin sort of thing. I played that for marching band and for concert band for a little bit. I play guitar, obviously. I play drum kit. I can pick up marching percussion if I really wanted to. I play bass. I play a little bit of keyboard. Pretty much, if you put an instrument in my hands, give me like 4 hours and I'll be able to crank out a song or some couple. Yeah, it was something. I really like it, so I'll pretty much pick up anything, and if I can figure out how to get started, I'll get it going.
It's like that musical ear.
Yeah. Not perfect pitch though.
I don't think anyone is. I think Charlie Puth's lying, but that's me personally. Okay, so talk about how you started music. What inspired you to make the song that we're gonna show soon?
I wish I could like explain the process in a better way, but it's kind of just vibe-based.
Vibe-based?
Like I listen to like the amount of you get it. Like the amount of stuff that I listen to, and then it just kind of branches off from there, where I'll like have a melody stuck in my head, whether it's mine or it comes off of somebody else's, and I might like make up a vocal line or something, and then it just kind of spirals from there, and I figure out how to put it together, and it all kind of starts on my acoustic. Which feels really cliche to say, but but starting on my acoustic guitar and then
acoustic guitar.
Yeah, and then it just kind of goes from there. And I've actually started putting stuff together, like actually putting stuff together like on GarageBand, the Mac version.
No shame.
The Mac version.
No shame. Hey,
yeah.
I use GarageBand on my cracked iPhone 8. Okay,
yeah.
So
hey, it's a fun little toy until you need to use it, and then you're like, okay, let's see how much of this we can lock in before we actually like. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like how much can the world actually hear of this? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the software is one thing, but I think if I had to like tell anybody anything about it, it's don't worry about it. Like if you really want to do it, you can do it with almost any tools. It's just convenience. That's pretty much it.
Plenty of artists used GarageBand for like a long time to produce production. I mean, only one comes off the top of my head, and there's no bias here, but you know Joji?
Yeah, I like his stuff. Yeah.
I think his first 2 albums were only produced on GarageBand. So,
but like that's not even irregular anymore, because it used to be that you had to like pay all this money right off the bat to be able to go do anything, and now it's like, hey, with my phone, like you just use this thing and make stuff, and I think that's pretty cool, because where I would maybe not be able to do any of this. I've written an entire song, and obviously not all of the tracks were shown when I was playing it here just now, but like there's drum track, there's bass, there's keyboard in there, and I did all that at home through like MIDI.
So that brings up a good topic. I don't want to stray too far, but you mentioned it, like music and honestly any creative outlet as a whole, they've just become very accessible nowadays. They've made it easier, I think easier and harder. It depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
But they've definitely made it easier to create art. I think I would go as far as saying it's made it easier for artists to kind of break out into the mainstream, or to at least gain some sort of following on the internet, or in general. Or how do you feel about it? Do you think it's maybe saturated the market too much?
So it's always a fun topic to talk about. People, I don't know. I know obviously I'm not like a super big expert, but from what I see, because I do see a lot of it, it's a really kind of complicated thing, because on the one hand you got people who have obvious talent and they're writing these songs and they're putting it together, in their bedroom, hence bedroom pop, like those kind of things. And even though that's kind of like like a genre like vibe name for it, but like people do, like they just pull their computers and they're like, okay, I'm just gonna do this, which is fine. Like I think that it's made, you're right, it's made it a lot more accessible, which is cool, because then more people who have obvious talent can kind of show that. And on the other hand, some people will argue like, but not everybody should be able to do that, because that makes it too much like saturated in the market and like it's not cool. But I think that in the same way that like people complain when tech, like Pro Tools, like the software, all these other like Logic, Ableton, all these things come out, and they're like, you're taking the musicianship away from music. How? I argue it's just like using any other instrument. It's a tool.
It's expanded. If anything, I would say it's expanded it. I used to be on that side though, thinking that using any sort of DAW,
that's right.
Digital, right?
Digital audio workspace.
Yep.
Or something like that.
I think that's right. Any sort of DAW or any kind of electronic aspect to your music, because I used to be heavy into rock when I was younger.
As most people should be, by the way. Not a lot of good rock out there.
But I think, and I don't want to get too controversial in our first episode, but I think some people need to grow up and realize that electronic music has some seriousness to it. I would go as far as saying hyperpop as well has some depth to it. While I do say it's more of a guilty pleasure of mine, I still haven't fully gotten behind it. I would say that electronic music production has added more depth to music. It's look at artists like Grimes, like Bjork, like Death Grips, even like their music. We understand that they're talented music, or even Radiohead with like Kid A. Yeah,
right, exactly.
We already understand that they are talented musically, but just that electronic aspect that they add to their music adds a different level of, dare I say, even humanity to it, right? It's like, and it would be almost impossible to not make art electronically when everything else in this world is moving electronically.
Yeah, no, right? I agree. And I think the funny thing about that is like, I also don't want to like go too crazy with this, but I feel like if you take like electronic music or like using Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton as a whole, and you kind of step back from it, it looks really scary.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot going on. Like I'm doing a course and I literally had to sit there and draw the diagram out, because I was like, I'm gonna forget this and I don't want to forget it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's talent and skill in and of itself to kind of like tame the beast.
Yeah.
When you're sitting there and breaking it down and going, okay, I actually understand what these buttons do. I actually understand, especially with electronic music, they're so, naturally when you play like an acoustic guitar or even an electric room, really like the tuning and the frequencies and everything. But then if you want to get really nitpicky in the electric music, like that stuff has the exact same qualities. It's just a slightly different way of getting there. So the musicianship is almost, it's just a different frame of it, but it's still the same concept of like, you need to know what you're doing to be able to do it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I think kind of to backtrack, we were talking about GarageBand. I think a lot of people, when you tell them you produce or you make electronic music, they'll automatically assume you just use GarageBand, which again, there's nothing wrong. GarageBand is complicated as well. If you really want to make music,
I got lost.
You can spend hours there just learning everything.
I did.
I think.
By the way, I did. That took me a long time.
Like, I won't lie, I got so intimidated that I almost stopped trying to pursue music when I first got onto FL, and I moved on from FL. Actually, I use Ableton, and I also use a smaller known DAW called LMMS, because it was free and I was broke. And you know how
the
this
same
works.
reason I used GarageBand, you know, it's because
Yeah.
I was like, this is what's available to me right now. I don't want to do it on my phone. My parents had a computer that had it, and I was like, okay, let's just go ahead and use this. I started in 10th grade, and, you know, so I started using it, I would say, you know, this past year or so, and I was like, okay, you know, it's free, but it's complex in and of itself.
Yeah.
Even being the more simpler, you know, the version of it, even that's where Logic comes from.
Yeah.
And like it's hard. It's hard if you don't know what you're doing, how to approach it. So I kind of had to do the same thing you did, and just kind of like sit there and learn it.
And it definitely has the tools for anyone who wants to go deeper into music. To actually, like, it does have the ability for you to be intentional with music. And
absolutely.
I want to say, to kind of move away from the topic, I want to talk about how another fear that comes from the accessibility of music nowadays is because everyone can make music now, and everyone, like, if you're watching this as well, you most likely have this thought process as well, where it's like you want to listen to the artist with sub 1,000 streams on Spotify, because you want to like flex to your friends and be like, hey, look, I know this indie artist, I know this underground artist way before.
Gatekeeping. Yeah.
I love gatekeeping. Don't get me wrong.
He's actually the gatekeep king.
I am. No,
Dude,
this outfit. Don't worry about it. But sorry. But where I'm going with this is, it has become a trend nowadays to be indie, so much that it's even lost its like meaning. And we touched on this a while ago. But like indie, it's really all about just how you feel on record labels. Indie artists essentially are just artists without a label, who make music with no label. But nowadays, it's grown so much that when you say the word indie, most people think of folk music, right? Or like some sort of like guitar.
Or like,
sound.
kind of like acoustic guitar, bedroom pop, you know. Like, Clairo's kind of an indie artist, but like she's also
she's
like,
got
on a label.
So that's what I wanted to
producers
talk
like Jack
about.
Antonoff, and she's been in Electric Lady Studios in New York, like all these things that you wouldn't expect of a traditional indie artist. Right.
Yes.
So there's a weird kind of line there, but it's the same thing as alternative music.
Yeah.
Right? Because back in, I want to say like the 80s or 90s, when alternative music, probably more like the 90s grunge alternative music, when you got, like Pearl Jam and Nirvana, like all these bands that were, you know, under the alternative label, at its core was because it was very different than the like rock.
The mainstream, yeah.
Right.
And nowadays,
it's so different now,
It's different, and I would go as far as saying that what was considered alternative rock has just become what most people think of when they think of rock, and it's almost
it doesn't even really encapsulate anymore, because you look at bands like, I'm going to go back to middle school for a second, 21 Pilots is considered an alternative group, and they are in the sense that they don't follow a lot of the same genre rules as you would expect.
Rock?
No,
I would say they're like
close.
Pop now,
They're a little bit more poppy, especially as they've gone through their albums.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the alternative labeling has increased, like has just become so much wide, like indie music. It's the same thing.
I want to say something controversial, and then I'm going to immediately jump onto another topic just so we don't have to go more in depth on it.
Okay.
But I would even say that rock nowadays is what was once considered alternative music, and now what we consider alternative music is really like what is too scared to say it's like emo or punk. It's just like it wants to live in that centralist, like just borderline, like we're kind of emo but we're not. And that's all I'll say about it, because I don't want to infuriate anyone.
The general public. Anybody who had a Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, My Chemical Romance phase in middle school, we see you. We see you. We love you. We remember you.
Yeah. I'm sure I can post some old pictures of me.
Don't because half those pictures have me in it too.
Yeah,
I don't want to see those.
But where I was going with the indie thing is we talked about Clairo. You know, we can even talk about like Lana Del Rey as well. Mm-hmm. Just like these artists who are indie sounding, but they aren't actually independent, and they've kind of been thrown into the mix to make sure that labels still have control over what's in the actual music market now, like what's actually popular. Like we even look at like, you know, my queen, even Ice Spice. You know, she was kind of thrown out there as like what was seemed to be independent. Like, oh wow, she was a small artist. How she grows so big so fast? But
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. Listen, if this show was in time, we could jump onto.
I would love to talk about this because Well,
let's go into it. We can go past our time for today.
Sure.
TikTok has also made it easier for artists to come into the mainstream, but it has also made it easier to saturate the market.
It's the same concept.
with fake indie artists who are backed by labels.
And I will say some of these. Okay, so I will come back to that in a second. There is a TikTok account for anybody who's wondering. It's called The Bun. I think it's like 91.3. I don't remember the actual like number on it. Okay. But this guy literally goes and he finds.
We'll find it.
I have it. He literally goes and he finds on Spotify. It's not always sub 1,000 monthly listeners, but generally smaller groups. And he highlights their songs and their music and stuff. And it's actually one of the coolest accounts I've followed. I'm not on TikTok tons, but when I see his stuff,
TikTok, you know,
You're like, gatekeeping, but no. Reverse gatekeeping.
No, for real.
But this guy, he's great. So just wanted to go on that. But back to what we were saying about TikTok is that I genuinely have found some really cool like smaller artists on there. There's oh my gosh, what's his name? Ariel. He makes some really good actually some bilingual music. I'll play it for you later. I really like him. I don't know how big he is right now, but I found him through TikTok. Another big name now, Noah Khan.
Noah Khan. I may have heard about that.
Well, yeah, but his I think his music is on UMG, Universal Music Group. And so this whole thing with UMG
been very controversial lately.
Well, they've been taking their stuff off of TikTok. So anyway, he was saying how a lot of he already made music and he was doing his thing before he got really big. But when he went viral, that's when people really started paying attention to him, and he just re-released his whole album with a lot of collaborations with other artists. He had one with Hosier, he had one with Sam Fender, he had one with Lizzie McAlpine, Brittany Carla, I think. Yeah, it was the other one. All these really great artists on his songs, which is cool. I actually like his music, but TikTok undeniably helped him kind of reach that new level of his following.
And before we continue, I want to clarify, and maybe this will strain opinions, because I just want to say it so that people know my stance on this. I don't think there's anything wrong with, I'll joke about gatekeeping, and I do gatekeep, because if I can do anything to keep an artist small in mind, I'll do it, no matter how wrong it sounds.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna hate on an artist once they get big. I think
yeah, exactly.
I think in this kind of indie market, we've grown so full of ourselves where it's you forget that you're not the one making the music. You're just a consumer. And eventually there are going to be other consumers like you listening to this artist. So don't be mad when they start growing into the mainstream. I think one of my favorite artists, Red Veil, he's young. He's actually our age. He's 19.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
He's got a million listeners now on Spotify. And he's been co-signed by artists like Denzel Curry, JPEG Mafia, Kenny Mason, Paris, Texas. Tyler, the Creator, he performed at Camp Flog Gnaw this year as well. But a lot of people were not happy with that, and started to get a little sour grapes on him even, and hate on his newer stuff. Even though I would say he's continued to release high quality albums and his concepts just keep getting better and better. But because it's different, they're so quick to blame him just getting bigger, and they'll call him a sellout, when in reality he's so much far from it. And I think we need to stop doing this, because we're discouraging artists from actually wanting to grow and do what needs to be done to be successful. We need to get these old heads out of the music market. We need youth like Red Veil, youth like Paris, Texas. We need them in the mix, so that way we start seeing what we actually like in the public, if that makes sense. We can't just continue to discourage artists from growing because we don't like that our neighbor knows who they are now.
And I think the thing about that is, the older generation of the music industry, there's nothing wrong with them giving guidance and them, being a part of it, because let's be honest, these people still have markets.
Oh yeah.
Not just in the older generations of people who listen to them, but a lot of these things are coming back. Vinyl was not huge for a while before I own vinyls. Yeah, I own vinyls now, and I love it. We bought another record player. We have it in my house. Just to listen to records, we buy them all the time now. But yeah, and all these artists who sometimes again will collaborate with newer artists, and then they'll go on social media and blah blah. The whole thing. But having newer artists in the mix, it's good, because it kind of keeps it fresh for people, and it brings in more listeners and more people. And the thing about
different listeners, people that you wouldn't even think would listen to these genres.
The thing about keeping bands small, it's on the one hand, it's it kind of becomes your baby, because you're oh yeah, I grew up with this and all these things, but that's not sustainable for the artist. And I think people forget sometimes that because they have such a close relationship with the music, they forget they don't have a close relationship with the artist. And so they forget, hey, this person doesn't actually owe us anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
in fact, they owe themselves. Like, they gotta eat.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
They
so
gotta
if anything, support them because they need the support. And there's a band that I really like right now that I've seen twice now. Once opening for a band called the Happy Fits.
Okay.
They're not huge, but they're getting bigger. And I'm super happy for them. There's another band they opened for them. I think it was like last year. This band is called the Hales. They are from Miami.
Miami.
And and they came to Atlanta this past year. Yeah, go Fins.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great. Like, I love their music, and so when we saw that they were coming back to Atlanta, I was thrilled, and I want more people to listen to them. So every time people ask for song recommendations, I'm like, hey, here you go, because they're touring musicians, and they're trying to get big, and to kind of deny them the opportunity and just be like, oh, this is mine. Who cares? It's theirs, really, and you're right. You are a consumer, and let these people have their shot, because I want them to get big, so that way they don't ever have to worry about do we have gas money this week?
Oh yeah,
that's ridiculous.
I think it's kind of like a definitely, like, I don't know how to explain. Like, it kind of zooms you out. It gives you perspective. That's what I'm gonna say. One of my favorite groups, just artists in general, the Garden. They have they're twins, great musicians. If you haven't checked out the Garden, check them out. This is not a Marietta endorsed message. This is just an Estrus endorsed message. Check out the Garden if you haven't already. They're great. Wyatt Fletcher, awesome artist. I forgot the other Fletcher. Don't get mad at me. But Enjoy and Puzzle, great artists as well. Where I'm going with this is they told a story about how they were working at Macy's at the same time that they were also doing a tour within California, and how, like, I think the only thing I remember about the story is that they worked at a mall, and one time because they're twins, they just switched shirts and worked each other's jobs, and because they could, no one could tell them apart. But just when I was watching that when I was younger, I was like, what? These guys are awesome. What do you mean they're working? You're telling me you're not a full-time rock star? Like, and I think I started to understand it now. And they've grown bigger, but they're still smaller in the grand scheme of things. But I think definitely some gatekeeping was there.
Well, look at a bigger band. Yeah, I say bigger band. It's kind of, again, another band that falls under the indie alternative label, but it's the 1975 guys. Like, it's not. Okay. Their drummer, George Daniel, who was actually, he was a production student. I was looking up a whole bunch of these artists, and most of them dropped out of high school or college or anything, which is crazy, but that's just kind of the way it is. George Daniel went to school for production. He's a producer now, but he was working when he was putting this stuff out, and he was using their band's music in his assignments for his classes. So you think these guys are so good. How did they keep doing this on the side? Which one's the side job? Really, you have to figure it out as you go. And I don't think there's really a rule book or even a handbook or anything to figure out how you're supposed to do this. So you just kind of
just do it and hope you make it to the other side.
Yeah.
And even then, that's as much input as we can give on it because we really don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Closest person here is her.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a production student if everything works out the way I want it to. So I'm not gonna be a touring musician. If I can help it at least. Touring is cool. I don't know if I'm fit for that life, but massive respect for the people who do. But I really, everything we say is really just speculation. From
our perspective, of course. We do have a time constraint, so I will say, just to wrap up this conversation, because there's so much we can continue saying about this.
A lot.
If you have any interest in this topic at all, I recommend checking out this song. Super underground. You might not even know it. So this coming out from my treasure box of underground songs. Panini by Lil Nas X wraps up this concept in a way that I don't think I could. So yeah, hey Panini,
I'd love to hear this.
Don't you be a meanie. Thought you wanted me to grow? Why are you trying to keep me teeny? Remember those words. I will say though, from my perspective, the only reason I like keeping artists small is because concert tickets are so expensive.
The Hales tickets were $15. I texted my friends, there were 5 of us who went, and I said, we are buying tickets and we're hopping in the car and going because I don't think ever again will tickets be $15.
Exactly. JPEG Mafia, my favorite artist of all time. 2022, tickets were only $20. Last year, I was late to buying the tickets as well, but they sold out in a month and it was still in the masquerade, but they sold out immediately. So
on that note, actually, please support small local concert venues
Yes.
because they are actually amazing. If you think, oh, they're going to be dingy, some of them are. That's part of the charm. The Masquerade is
I love
great.
the Masquerade.
Center Stage, also another good
The
one.
Vinyl. Please go to all of them. Just go out, guys. It's not the pandemic anymore. Please just socialize. Click off this video
And support Touchgrass and support small bands, support small venues. We need this as a community. We need this as a society to keep like being who we are as these smaller groups. But support them enough to let them get bigger.
But yeah, do you have anything else you want to say? Okay,
I'm good. I think that was good. I talked enough.
So this has been Hadley Pacin. Her song is about to play. Again, official, unofficial release. It's acoustic version for her Tiny Desk submission. So stay tuned. When we come back from her video, we're going to be talking about the Grammys, specifically KillerMike, and how we feel about the situation. So no spoilers there. Up next, Hadley Pacin.
You ready?
Yep, let's go.
Philosophy will still remain. Taking my time, attempts to relate to you. Wish on my enemies as my friend. Do you ever wonder now where we go when it all goes wrong? Find some relief in me, like I found in you. Tear me apart. Just still being proud of me. If I change, make me whole again. But tear me apart. Do you ever wonder now where we go when it all goes wrong? Find some relief in me, like I found in you. Tear me apart. It's not enough noise for this much emotion. I wrote this when I was grasping focus. Went to the river, confronted the flood. There's people here now just to stand where I stood. Do you ever wonder now where we go when it all goes wrong? I hope you find some relief in me, 'cause I know you could tear me apart.
Woo! Yeah.
That was Hypotheticals. Thank you so much again. My name is Hadley Pacin. Thank you.
Cut. So that was Hadley Pacin's performance. Loved having her here. Final notes on that. She is as independent as it gets, only endorsed by Groove Club and our subsidiary podcast for now. But definitely show her some love. Watch the video itself. We'll link it on this podcast's description. You may be wondering who I have next to me. I'll let him introduce himself, but his credentials are basically my friend.
Yeah, I have no experience with music other than listening to it and playing Jingle Bells on the piano when I was 8.
Hey.
I'm Dominic McDaniel, and that's it.
That's it. Hey, I will say you may need to speak up a bit because the input is a bit weird, but I'm sure that that was recorded. But yep, like you said, this is Dominic McDaniel, my good friend, colleague, everything. Well, not that much. But yeah, so I brought you on here to listen, without naming names. I was in film one day, and a student was describing her perspective on the Grammys to my teacher, my boss, Mr. Dempsey. All power to him. And she told him, It was a disaster. Taylor Swift won Best Album, and she didn't agree with that, which was surprising. But hey, I don't disagree with her take on that.
That's a real take. Taylor Swift didn't deserve it.
Oh yeah, of course. She also didn't deserve it in 2015.
2015.
But without getting into that, you know, we love our Swifties. She had described the Grammys as a cataclysmic event that some unknown artist with an unknown album won 3 Grammys, including Best Rap Album. If you haven't figured it out already, we're talking about Run the Jewels, Atlanta native, and just pretty much awesome guy, KillerMike, who dropped his album Michael last year, with an amazing song, Scientists and Engineers with Andre 3000, which is just an amazing.
Who came back from the flute
for
to
real.
rap again.
Like, hey, but yeah, we just wanted to touch on that. Really, just how do you feel about that?
About the take?
About her, yeah, you can talk about her take first, saying that he didn't deserve it, underground artist.
Well, one, that take is crazy because who else was that going to?
Right!
Travis Scott?
Utopia? Listen, we love our viewers, do not click off, but Utopia,
I won't say it wasn't a bad album. Like, it was a good album. I liked it.
It was
really
just,
liked it.
Life of Pablo came out in 2016? Was it? Life of Pablo already came out. You know, we didn't need another one, is what I'm saying.
Now we need a second Life of Pablo.
A second, lesser version. But then, it was, okay, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it was also Heroes and Villains, Metro Boomin.
Right.
It's a quality album, I will say.
Right. Transitions. Metro does his thing.
Yep. Metro keeps doing his thing. Also, Morehouse alumni. Shout out. Please accept my application. But sorry, we're straying away. Yeah, it was that. It was too old. It was the Drake album, right?
We don't need to talk about.
We don't even need to talk about that.
But he needs to stop making music. That's my hot take.
Yeah. What do you prefer he be doing? What do you recommend he do instead?
He needs to.
No. Let's move on from Drake. But yeah. There just weren't that many good rap albums that came out last year. In my opinion, you know, I will keep saying it, but the best album wasn't even up there. You know, scaring the H. STH Volume 1 by JPEG Mafia.
I love JPEG Mafia.
Not a Marietta endorsed statement, but it was Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia, a newer addition to the experimental rap scene and experimental rap scene old head, combined into one album, an amazing album, but I digress.
Oh, on that, but like to be fair, the Grammys like literally never give the best albums of that year.
Right.
Like the year before, Saba put out an album.
Saba, Denzel Curry, Jid. Yeah.
And those were all great albums. And then you put like Jack Harlow up there for what?
Did Jack Harlow win?
Yes, he got nominated. He didn't win. Okay. He got nominated.
Who won? I don't remember.
It was Kendrick. Did he win?
Yeah, Kendrick did win.
Yeah.
Which, okay. Here is where I have to give my 2 cents. For once, I'm agreeing with the Grammys.
Right.
Because
Mr. Morale
and the Big Steppers, amazing album. Was it better than the Forever Story? No. I
think it went deeper than the Forever Story.
Oh yeah.
So I think it was like, while the Forever Story was a personal album and so was Melt My Eyes, I think Mr. Morale just like it was deeper. I think it also was from the lack of an album for 5 years.
Oh yeah, the hype was there for sure.
Right. So I think that's what really went into it. But like for me personally, the Forever Story, if it was nominated, should have won.
Oh yeah. Forever Story definitely should have won. And he gained so much pleasure from me saying that because for a year and a half I was saying Melt My Eyes was better, which I still agree with, but I've realized it's more of a subjective take.
Right.
Where was I going with this? 2 years in a row I've agreed with the rap album winners. KillerMike, while I do not think it's his best album or the best piece of art that he's ever put out, I do believe that it's long deserved. So much so that he got a shout out on To Pimp a Butterfly, and it still took him this long to gain any sort of real recognition.
Which is crazy.
Which is insane, because To Pimp a Butterfly is old.
Album.
It's about to be 10 years old.
Dang.
Which is insane. But yeah, Kendrick Lamar shouted him out in Hood Politics, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if I can recite the lyrics exactly, can we? I can say though, the only part I can say, he said, in regards to people saying that they miss when hip hop was rapping, he said if you did, then KillerMike would be platinum, which is true. I mean, Run the Jewels, you can still ask people, yo, do you know who Run the Jewels are? And they probably won't know, or they'll say, oh, you mean the people from the Black Panther album? And that's as far as they'll go.
But like, I don't even think they would realize they're on the Black Panther album because it was mostly just Top Dog Entertainment.
Yeah, I think they just had that one song. I'll put the name of the song here because I'm forgetting it, but you know what song I'm talking about.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, they don't. That's the whole point. You don't know who Run the Jewels are.
But like, I don't know. Okay, compared to the other nominees, it was a better album. But like, at least from what I'm hearing, I didn't listen to the album. I didn't listen to the album.
I think I will say on both sides, people who agree with the nomination / him winning the award, and people who disagree with it, both sides, I don't think they've actually listened to the album itself. I will say the album was still under the radar when it was out, when it was popular. So most people didn't know there was a song with under 3,000 in it until the Grammys had mentioned it. But I mean, I knew because just Instagram had it up for a bit. But I think if you haven't listened to the album, listen to it. Whether you disagree with him winning the album of the year or disagree, because I think you can be on both sides. Our side where it's like, well, compared to everyone else, he definitely deserved it. But also on the side of like, my favorite album didn't win, so I don't think he should have won. Like,
but how do we feel about like Travis Scott feeling like he got snubbed 4 times in a row? Because because he puts out good albums. Wasn't he? I think and I could be wrong, so I'll cut this out if I am, because I can't be wrong live on camera. But for Astro World, wasn't that one out at the same time as Damn? Or what album was it? That I think it was a Kendrick album. I think they were around the same time. But like, I do think Astro World could have won a Grammy for sure. It could have. But like, if it was competing with Kendrick, then it's kind of a given. I think the Grammys will look to Kendrick anytime he puts out an album. It could be trash and he would win that Grammy. Oh yeah. And Kendrick fans, you're not gonna like that one. I know I didn't like that one for a moment, but I realize what you mean by that. Like, I love Kendrick Lamar. I will say I love him, but the Grammys would not. If he had dropped Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers in 2015 and To Pimp a Butterfly this year, like, okay, I didn't need to go that far. If he dropped Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers 2015, he still would not have won Album of the Year. And I will tell you why. I don't think, and I mean, this is nothing new. Anyone with 2 brain cells can put this one together. The Grammys doesn't actually care about the quality of the music or what's going on. Yeah. They really only care about publicity. Being the Grammys and hearing the backlash that they got twice. Once when Macklemore beat Good Kid, Mad City. That's insane. Macklemore? Not even Mac Miller. But Macklemore. And B, when Kendrick Lamar lost Album of the Year to Taylor Swift. It definitely riled some fans up. There was backlash. It was a mid-Taylor Swift album. Oh, yeah. It wasn't even a top-tier Taylor Swift album. There are only 2 top-tier Taylor Swift albums. Fearless and Speak Now. But it was 1989. Like, God. What was the purpose? Welcome to New York over Wesley's Theory. That's what and here's the issue. More than the fact that they don't look at the quality of music and they look at publicity, they box rap into like its own category. Like with Tyler the Creator, with Igor. Right, like it can be a beautiful, wide-reaching album with a bunch of fans and from different regions of the world, different backgrounds that identify with this music, and then they'll give the Album of the Year to Taylor Swift. Kendrick Lamar could drop the best rock album of all time, and they'd still put him in urban. Like, yeah, it's urban, right? It's urban, right? And then Taylor Swift will get to be in country even though she makes pop. Even though she makes pop. But we're not bashing on Taylor Swift for being Taylor Swift or like any of that. Just so you know, to clarify, we're just bashing the Grammys for caring about publicity and money more than they care about the actual music itself. Who would have thought an organization that gains money from the views that it gets would care about
bringing in more views.
It's like the culture around the Grammys as well, where people think that winning a Grammy, like, I feel like the meaning behind it has just deteriorated.
It's lost its meaning.
Like, people will be like, yeah, see, Taylor Swift has more Grammys, and that makes her a better artist.
Wrong, but...
Right. So, I feel like we use Taylor Swift.
We keep using Taylor Swift. Let's switch to Macklemore. Who won a Grammy? Actually, no. Ice Spice lost to Monet this year, which I will agree with. I have one of the... I keep forgetting her first name, but I think it may be Victoria Monet. I don't know, but I know the last name is Monet. I have one of her songs saved. It's a good song. Good artist, so definitely deserved there.
Do you mean Janelle Monáe?
It might be. I don't know.
Computers make that?
She might have. Well,
Okay.
I'll put it up. Correction every time I get it wrong. But I wasn't going to stay on that topic too long. I go back to, I don't want to agree with the Grammys, but I have to when they get things right. And again, I feel as though KillerMike won. It may have been because of the Kendrick cosign. But where I was going, where if Kendrick had dropped Pimp a Butterfly in 2022, it would have won Album of the Year. It's only because as the years have gone on, Kendrick's voice and Kendrick's influence has only grown, not just in pop culture, but in what goes on behind the scenes as well. I mean, you recall when Kendrick was threatening to remove all his music from Spotify when they had removed X's music from Spotify. Like, that was a serious threat that gained traction, and it was able to get change done. But
devastated if his music was off his phone.
Dude, what do I look like? I'm gonna have Tidal on my phone, Apple Music on my phone, on my Android.
Like, what would I do every 2 months when I need to go back to Pimp a Butterfly and like relive that moment that was in 2020 when I listened to it for the first time?
So you're saying every 2 months, but A, that's a lie, and B, that would be progress, because if I recall, this man goes back to that album every week. I mean, I do.
It's a problem.
But it's a good album. I mean, I feel like this is just Kendrick glazing, but I swear, because we were just talking about how Kendrick could poop into a microphone and the Grammys would give it Album of the Year, because they don't want the smoke. A,
right.
And B, the people would not watch anymore.
Right, that's like, but that's just because like there's a bunch of Kendrick glazing fans. And they're like, this was an experimental album. It's the best thing to ever come out.
Dude, I would do that for JPEG Mafia. But even there's, I would also say that nowadays artists in the mainstream, like Kendrick is just not aged, but he's grown so much. But it's like the artists who are winning awards as well are huge Kendrick fans. Like, just think about it.
Of course.
So I do think we've reached that kind of pivot where nowadays we may reach a point where we're mad at Kendrick. Because he keeps getting not even support, but just like accolades for things that had he dropped it when he was first coming out, it wouldn't have reached that level.
I feel like Kendrick has one more album in him before he starts turning into Eminem.
Oh yeah, no, I say that about Kanye, and then every time Kanye drops an album, I'm like, oh my god, Kanye's back, he's still here. But really, I'm just holding on to that sliver of hope that one day I'll be told it's all been a big prank.
I just like that was gonna be so off topic. This is music. Don't worry about that.
We'll talk about that later. But yeah, on the topic of Kanye, again, I have to put the disclaimer up. This is not endorsed by Marietta. This is endorsed by Estris Nava. Estris Nava, student at Marietta, but not Marietta itself. New Kanye album. If you haven't checked it out, check it out before forming any sort of opinion on it. In fact, press the spacebar on this episode and check that out first before.
To be extra clear, we don't endorse any statements by Kanye,
Oh yeah, I should have said
present, or future, that regards to any anti-Semitism,
anything,
racism,
just anything, period,
or any ignorance,
anything ignorant or anything bright either. It's only endorsed when I say it's endorsed. But new Kanye album, if you haven't heard it yet, go listen to it, form an opinion on it. 3, 2, 1. My opinion on the new Kanye album, it's a good Ty Dolla $ign album. A great Ty Dolla $ign album.
Oh yeah, Kanye did nothing on this. He didn't do nothing, but he was barely there.
But as a Kanye album as well, not one of his best works. I wouldn't be against putting it at the bottom, but when it's Kanye's discography, even the worst is still better than most.
Right.
So don't get mad at me when I put it at the bottom. But
I wouldn't put that of his entire discography.
you're gonna put Yeezus at the bottom, and I'm gonna slap you.
No, Jesus is it's midway.
Okay.
At the bottom is Jesus is King. It was whack. Sorry.
You wouldn't get it.
You
just wouldn't.
Hey.
You wouldn't
No,
understand.
I put
Closed
Ye
on
towards
Sunday.
the top.
You're my Chick-fil-A.
That's terrible.
That's
That's
deep.
so bad. No.
Hey man, I mean, props to Kanye for dropping 2 albums before cursing again. But yeah, no, again, I'm not a glazer. You wouldn't get it, guys. I get it at a different level. Kanye is far from dropping trash, despite what the almost 100-year-old music reviewer on the internet, Anthony Fantano, would say. To the point where he claimed it's unlistenable garbage, which is weird considering JPEG Mafia produced 5 songs on there. And I mean, you want to talk about a JPEG Mafia glazer? Look at Anthony Fantano. But
Anthony Fantano just has whack opinions. You know what he said about Care for Me? He said it was he said it was a light 6.
I think he gave Camp, when Camp had come out by Childish Gambino, he gave it a low review. I remember that. And I think he even tried comparing it to Bastard in the sense that, or can I say that? The first Tyler album, because he just, I don't know. I think Anthony Fantano only has good takes when his takes coincide with mine. And that's all of y'all's opinion. Don't get me started.
No, because his problem, I don't get it. Like he has such inconsistent takes. Because let's be clear, if Saba, his Care for Me album, was made by Kendrick Lamar, 10,
oh my god,
10,
yeah.
he would have been like, oh my god, it's perfect. It's a 10. He could copy it verse for verse, bar for bar, cadence for cadence, and then Anthony Fantano would be like, oh my god, it's perfect.
Yeah, we gotta cool it on the Anthony Fantano talk, just because I feel like we're gonna be on his TikTok.
Appear.
Yeah.
These guys don't know what they're talking about. Let's actually look through their entire history.
Oh no, he's gonna find my Spotify account and realize I've been listening to too much 100 gigs. But again, he likes 100 gigs, so which he hates. I love 100 gigs. I love hyperpop. We talked about it with Hadley. But yeah, I like experimental music. I just like music. Anything that's good, I'll listen to it.
Yeah, that's real. But 100 gigs isn't. That's not a good take.
Oh my god. Okay, was it 10 level? No, but is it good? Yeah,
you know
bearable,
who likes 100 gigs? Redditors. Redditors love.
I feel like it's more 4chan users, but yeah. Or iFunny users.
Oh.
But where were we going with this? Anthony
Yeah.
Fantano, Care for Me.
We're still talking about KillerMike.
No, we're talking about. Well, yeah, we had moved on from that. We were talking about Kanye. Oh yeah, how the new album Vultures won.
Right.
It's an amazing Ty Dolla $ign album. Is it a great Kanye album? No. Is it a good album? Yes. I think we sort of touched on this with Hadley, just like how general perspective has been warped lately, or just as times have gone on. But we're too scared to even listen to things that are mid. We just expect everything to be great.
Right.
Which, when it's Kanye, I can see your argument there. But even then,
you listen to Overly Dedicated.
Mid album, but it's not bad. You can listen to mid albums and have, okay, again, subjective. There's no such thing as an objective good music taste. But
right.
Yes.
But there's
you can still, you can't listen. You can't just not you can do whatever you want. But if an album is mid and you stop listening to it just because everyone else says it's not good and mid are two different things.
Look, if you enjoy something, just stand on that. It's okay.
Yeah.
This is not music related, but I watched The Vampire Diaries.
Oh my god.
And I enjoyed it. Is it a terrible
we'll
show?
Find any way to bring this up. Yeah.
Is it a terrible show? Absolutely. But do I enjoy it? Yes.
That's how I feel about The Flash or Glee.
But that's related to any album or artist you listen to. Anyone could say this is trash.
Mm-hmm.
Objectively, and how the music is put together, how long the album is, whatever else, it could also be trash.
Yeah.
But if you like it, you like it, and then you need to just be like, yeah, I like this.
Yeah. Shout out to my overly dedicated fans, Section 80 fans,
Section 80 is good.
Camp fans.
Camp is also good, bro.
Some people don't like Camp, but I don't want to get into that. Camp's a good album. Actually, no. Want to talk about a controversial Childish Gambino album?
What?
3.1520, the White Album.
Oh, wasn't that a really short album? Wasn't
Short?
it like 4 songs?
Oh, no.
Am I tripping?
You're tripping. It's a big album. It's got Feels Like Summer on it.
I have a couple songs from that.
Great album. 2419, again, not an officially Marietta endorsed statement, but 2419 with 21 Savage, great song. I would say it's one of my favorite works from him, but the internet would like to tell you that it sucks, that it's rushed, that he just shouldn't have dropped it at all. Whatever, potato.
That's what happens with echo chambers, though. So you sort of just get the same opinion, and then you be like, maybe I believe what these people are saying, and then you just say the same opinion again, and it just kind of just goes on like that, and maybe what the purpose of the album was, what it really is, just goes unnoticed by you. I'm trying to think of an album where like that had to grow on me. I think Mr. Morale was one of those albums, if I'm being honest.
I can see that. I think I actually grew away from that album. Like I was heavy into it when I first listened to it, but as time has come, I haven't listened to the album as much.
That's fair. I only listened to a couple songs from it. I don't really revisit albums.
Shout out our friend Ethan.
But
count me out as his number one song.
250 plus times is insane. That's a
0.01% Kendrick Lamar
God.
fan.
And didn't we just introduce him to not Kanye, Kendrick too?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's scary. Because I was in like the 1%, and I only listen. And my top song was Isaiah Rashad. Isaiah Rashad puts out perfect music.
Dude, how did we not talk about Isaiah Rashad?
That's what I was saying.
Listen, we're gonna run out of time, and this is gonna be like a 3-hour episode if we start talking about Isaiah Rashad.
Listen to Sylvia
just
Demo.
understand, we like music.
No, listen to
Good
Sylvia
music.
Demo. Listen to Sylvia Demo right now. Pause this. Go listen to the album. Come back and tell. I can't hear you, but tell me what you feel about West Savannah. Greatest song to ever be written.
Oh my God, West Savannah! You mean his number one song on Spotify?
That's not his number one song. We can check right now.
I can pull it up right now, and I'm right. I know I'm right. See, if you're someone like me who likes to gatekeep, there's still some undiscovered songs on The Sun's Tirade. Check out The Sun's Tirade.
Everyone's listening to The Sun's Tirade. Listen to Free Lunch, Park.
God.
I'm throwing it all out there.
Okay, whatever. I guess I can't really gatekeep Isaiah Rashad.
Dress Like Rappers is great.
Find a Topic. I love that song. Oh my God. Find a Topic. Silk the Shaka. Oh my God. One of my favorite love songs for sure. And that's not even a love song, but.
And if you're more mainstream,
The House is Burning.
The House is Burning. Still a great album. I love that album. But like the
He's got some on it.
You know? Claymore is an amazing song. I love Claymore.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a great album. Great artist another great artist with an amazing discography. His worst still tops your best.
That's real.
But yeah.
Does he only have 3 albums?
I think so. He may have some singles and EPs out there.
That man is 3 for 3. That's crazy.
He may have some more, and for the old heads out there, you're gonna think we're ignorant or whatever. I think we're close on time, so we're gonna wrap up. Any final statements?
I guess we don't have time for the fall of SZA.
No, but we can talk about SZA in the next episode. If you like Dominic, leave a like, leave a comment, and we'll bring him back. You're just gonna stay here for the outro, buddy. Old heads, don't fret. We'll be talking about your favorite artists soon enough. Jay-Z, 50 Cent, older artists. You'll get mad at me for calling them old, but even Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang, they I was about to say Big Boy, Andre 3000. We'll be talking about older artists probably in the next episode. If you like today's episode, stay tuned. Next Monday we'll drop another episode. If you didn't like today's episode, please stay tuned as well. The quality will only get better. The more you watch, the higher the quality will get. And maybe I'll drop my playlist in the description, and you get to know what music I listen to. I'll put my Spotify for sure in the description, so you can check out my page. I'll put his page, or we'll leave our Last FMs. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Yeah, that's safer. Our Last FMs are safe. Yeah, we'll drop that. And yeah, if you like music, if you like making music, if you want to be on the show or help out with the show, we meet every Thursday in room B230. That's Mr. Herndon's room, Marietta. Mr. Herndon's room B230. So come check us out. We meet at 2:45 every Thursday. We got snacks. We got me. We got music as well. We got everything you need. So yeah, come check us out. Before I wrap up, just thank you for watching. Keep watching, and I guess we'll ride out to some copyright-free music.
What do you mean you listen to Siren plugged in some curve 460?
Oh yeah, I know that's how they're gonna look at my Last FM soon.
It's like, what's going on?
Yeah. All right.